Hi, this is the Hotbox, telling you that this video might have some sensitive stuff in it, so take a second if you need to and go check out something else. Otherwise, please enjoy the show. This channel is sponsored by ExpressVPN. Click the link, please. I need to buy bread.
Everything's fine, cause the merch in the store is hot, it's burning, it's trending, I'm buying. Everything's fine, cause the merch in the store. I miss that outside where somebody can save me. What you gonna do with all that stuff? You can wear it or burn it or give it to your dog. Everything is fine, cause the merch in the store is hot, it's burning, it's trending, I'm buying.
Life is hard. Yeah, I know, spitting facts over here. But it's true. Life comes at you fast and in a lot of different ways. Your life can be at one point in one moment and at a completely different point in the next. You can go from owning a house to being homeless. You can go from having everything to having nothing. You can go from having a starring role on a Nickelodeon kids show to now being tried in an Ohio court. Sometimes, when faced with the hard things, you have to take a step back and find a solution. And all the time, or at least most of the time, it's usually the most direct and simple answer. Yes, it's true. You might not think it'd be so simple, but you find a way, you find a way. But I don't know if Jared Drake Bell is gonna find his way out of this one, especially considering the charges brought against him. And is he making it worse on himself with this strange apology video? Let's find out. Buckle up, sit back, and let's talk about the Drake Bell case. Welcome back to the channel, new and returning, young and old, fans, haters, and everyone in between. If you're new here, why not subscribe? It's quick, it's easy, just takes a second, and you can always undo it, but it really does help out the channel a lot, so thank you. So who is Drake Bell? Well, if you're not like me and you didn't grow up with him and Josh Peck's lovable mug greeting you nearly every morning on Nickelodeon, you might not know that Jared Drake Bell, also relatively known as Drake Campagna, is an American actor, singer, songwriter, and musician. Born in Newport Beach, California, he began his career as an actor in the early 1990s at the age of 5 with his first televised appearance on Home Improvement. He did some commercial work too, but he's best known for his roles on Nickelodeon's The Amanda Show and Drake and Josh. Oh, and also he was Timmy Turner in those Fairly Odd Parents movies. Is anyone going to talk about that fever dream of a reality? But among all the glitz and glamour of childhood fame, Drake Bell's past is anything but spotless. Drake Bell was involved in some allegations a few years back. Drake Bell's ex-girlfriend, Jimmy Ono, went viral on TikTok with videos alleging that he had abused her. Ono stated, quote, "When I started dating Drake, I was 16. I was homeschooled. I moved in with him. It wasn't until about a year when the verbal abuse started, and when I say verbal abuse, imagine the worst type of verbal abuse you could ever imagine, and that was what I got. It then turned physical, hitting, throwing, everything." Ono also claims at the pinnacle of it, he drug me down the stairs of our house in Los Feliz. My face hit every step on the way down. I have photos of this.
First, I would like to start out with saying that I don't really care if anyone believes me, as this is my story in my life and something that I went through. It wasn't until recently that I actually realized that abuse isn't something that all women have to go through. When I started dating Drake, I was 16. I was homeschooled. I moved in with him. I was singing. It wasn't until about a year when the verbal abuse started. And when I say verbal abuse, imagine the worst type of verbal abuse you could ever imagine, and that was what I got. It then turned into physical, hitting, throwing, everything. At the pinnacle of it, he dragged me down the stairs of our house in Los Feliz. My face hit every step on the way down. I have photos of this. I don't even want to get into the underage girls thing. I mean, I will, but I'm scared.
Drake Bell has been cagey to make comments about this. The only statement he's made about it is through a representative to Variety. He says, quote, "I never abused my ex-girlfriend or did so many of the other things they falsely claimed on their TikTok video. As our relationship ended more than a decade ago, we unfortunately both called each other terrible names, as often happens when couples are breaking up. But that is it. Clearly, they still felt close enough to me last year that they were comfortable reaching out to ask me to provide them with financial support during a tough time, which I did. I do not know if today's behavior is some kind of misguided quest for more money or attention.
I don't really care if anyone believes me, as this is my story and my life.
But I cannot and will not allow these offensive and defamatory allegations to go unchallenged, and I am reviewing my legal options." Now listen, I'm all for benefit of the doubt and seeing both sides of a story, but pardon my French, this statement seems fucking distasteful. It's possible to make a point that will stand on its own without tearing down another person. In this statement, Drake sort of builds himself up, puts himself on a pedestal, talks about good things that he's done, and also calls these allegations attention-seeking. So yeah, victim blaming, another one on the bingo card. And amidst these already rocky waters, now Drake Bell is facing some more serious charges. Drake Bell was sentenced for child endangerment, sexual contact, and disseminating harmful material to an underage fan. And in the midst of all of this, Drake Bell has posted a video where he says, "But it's not true, lol." Like, does this sound familiar? And so I thought it might be good to break down this video just a little bit, to examine the things he says, and to really look at both sides of the story, if Drake Bell really has a story to begin with. So let's get right into it.
Hi, I'm Drake Bell, not Drake Campana. Soy Drake Bell, yo no soy Drake Campana. A lot of the news that you've been hearing, well, most of the news that you've heard recently is entirely false and wrong. And I feel that you deserve and I owe you an explanation. I didn't change my name, although I love and would love to. I've never moved to Mexico. I've never been a resident or a citizen of Mexico. I don't have a Mexican passport.
Drake Bell asserts he was never a resident of Mexico in any capacity. I did some research into this. It is easy to Google Drake Bell moved to Mexico and find a list of articles telling you that's what happened. But some of them, a lot of them, contain the words apparently, supposedly, things like that. It is additionally easy to take this picture of a Mexican voter ID alongside the fact that Drake Bell changed his Twitter to nearly entirely Spanish and his name to Drake Campaña, which means bell in Spanish. However, research into that reveals a few things too, chief among them being this ID seems like an actual meme. It's semi-believable, but there are details like the blur on the edge of the mugshot, the strange look of the whole picture, and not to mention that the address is nothing. At least from what I can find. I spent hours on stream with my chat trying to solve the address. The housing markets in the area don't even quite match, and no matter how I formatted it into Google Maps, I could find nothing. Anyone is welcome to look for this address for themselves, but all I'm seeing here is Drake Bell being very into Mexico, like on a surface level. It's a little strange, but at least not direct evidence that he did or didn't move to Mexico. This one's up in the air as far as I'm concerned. It's almost like gaslighting both sides of your audience at the same time. The side that loves you and would love to see you in that country, and the side that hates you. It's so weird.
I didn't get arrested. I didn't go to jail. I know that this has moved very quickly for you, but for me, it's been a 3-year thorough investigation into every false claim that has been made. And it's not me telling you that the claims are false, but the state of Ohio has proven the claims to be false. If these claims were remotely true, my situation would be very different. I would not be here at home with my wife and my son. I didn't get arrested.
Yeah, this one's just a lie. There are many instances Drake Bell could be referring to, including his multiple DUIs. But I don't think he's thinking about those right now. Drake does not specify exactly what claims are false, nor the legitimizing reasons behind their supposedly quote-unquote proven falsehood. Drake instead provides that the state of Ohio has already done the work for us. Drake believes that this relieves him of the burden of proof because he has slated it to the invisible third party of the Ohio no legal system. Drake's claim that he has not been arrested is both strange and again wrong. Drake Bell was sentenced. Drake Bell received a warrant and turned himself in. In order for him to appear in a court, he had to have been arrested. While convicted and arrested are two different things, turning yourself in to be arrested is still being arrested. There is no other way to cut that claim, and for him to make it is simply confusing. Did he think he was just going to speech 100 and we'd all believe that? Like, lying, or at the very least being misleading, is an ugly move, especially in a video where you emphasize your transparency.
I'm not perfect, and I made mistakes. I responded to a fan whose age I didn't know. Yet when I became aware of their age, all conversation and communication stopped. And this individual continued to come to shows and pay for meet and greets, and all while I was unaware that this was the same person I was communicating with online. And that's what I pled guilty to. It was reckless and irresponsible text messages. I want to make clear that there were no sexual images, nothing physical between me and this individual. I was not charged with anything physical. I was not charged with disseminating of photographs or images or anything like that. This is strictly over text messages.
Drake states that this has been a 3-year legal battle. This is because the victim contacted Toronto police in October of 2018. Toronto authorities then forwarded their findings to Cleveland police, which prompted an investigation. The attempted endangering children charge relates to the concert where Bell, quote-unquote, violated his duty of care and created a risk of harm to the victim, Cuyahoga County Prosecutor's Office spokesperson Tyler Sinclair said previously. Bell and the girl had, quote-unquote, developed a relationship online several years prior to the concert, Sinclair said. The disseminating harmful material charge concerns Bell having sent the girl, quote-unquote, inappropriate social media messages, Sinclair said. The reason Drake Bell is even able to make this video is because he was sentenced to 2 years probation alongside 200 hours of community service in the state of California, because I guess that's what a minor safety is worth, but it is what it is. The reason he got out like this is because he took a plea deal when he pled guilty. If he attempted to go to trial, he would have to be locked behind bars because they have to detain you if you're awaiting trial, especially if you're convicted of child endangerment. Drake Bell, guilty or not, is buying himself time. 9 times out of 10, unless you have irrefutable proof that you're innocent, most likely people will take a plea to buy time. Fighting the case would be risky, and there's the added bonus of a lighter sentence. This is of course indicative of a bigger problem with the judicial system, but that's a whole other conversation.
And when I was presented with a plea deal, because of the messages, I felt that it was the best way to get this over quickly and for everybody involved to be able to move on and for me to get back to doing what I love, and that's making music for you.
You'll have to pardon my disgust, but I fail to understand how potential child endangerment gets brushed off into a little mistake. Talking to fans in a friendly capacity as an entertainer isn't wrong. It's part of maintaining healthy interactions, but when conversing with anyone in a romantic or sexual manner, it seems like the topic of age would be one of the first things to come to mind. That is part of assuring the safety of the other person as well as yourself. Otherwise, it is gross negligence, especially on the part of someone in such a standing as Drake Bell, with a history of shows with an audience of, you guessed it, minors. There's also this crossover into real life. Drake claims this fan continued to come to shows and pay for meet and greets, and he was oblivious to the idea that they were the same person they were talking to. This implies him flirting with fans at meet and greets while he's talking to the underage victim at the same time, and it just makes me wonder where the disconnect is. Drake Bell is also being slightly misleading again. He claims he was never charged with anything physical or disseminating anything involving images, and while that may not be directly what he pled to, he was certainly charged with disseminating harmful matter to juveniles and attempted child endangerment. Again, an apology or explanation video is not the place to mince words, it's just the time to be direct.
I want to thank you for, to everyone who saw through the lies and did their research and looked at my case and saw it for what it was instead of through all of this media confusion, and you know, don't believe the media right off the bat. You know, it's a lot of clickbait. Do your own research and come to your own conclusions. And I just want to say thank you to all of you for sticking by me, and I love you, and I will see you soon.
Drake Bell claims he accepted a plea deal to expedite things. This claim has some degree of precedent as far as the law goes. The prosecutor will try to get it over as quickly as possible, and they will threaten you with the max time and fees. It's essentially blackmail by painting you a picture of hopelessness. People do often plead guilty even if they've committed no crime, especially if they say it like, you're gonna be found guilty anyway, just take the plea and get a lighter punishment. This stops people from using their right to trial. However, I doubt this is the case here because the main concern for most people there is the money aspect. Legal battles are often long and expensive, and it seems pretty unlikely that a fairly well-off guy like Drake Bell would plead guilty if he knew he was innocent and wouldn't try to fight it. Drake Bell closes with an identifying statement, because of course you gotta thank the haters who saw through the media and the lies and the give me a fucking break. This is a cheap shot. It validates anyone who's still around and might be asking questions themselves. Drake Bell's only ground that he has to stand on involves half-truths and fake honesty. He sells his version of events, which is just far enough departed from the truth to not be so bad, but still far enough to be a lie. Drake Bell is faced with the onus of proving that he truly regrets what he's been accused of, and by refusing to maintain perfect honesty within the confines of this video especially, he sets a bad precedent for his future. Oh, and if you're wondering what he's up to these days, by the way, one look at his Twitter, he's pumping this weird NFT. This thing called Astro Heads? Is this all he has left? As always, the situation is ongoing, do your own research, but this whole thing is so strange, and I don't think he's making it any better on himself. But that's all I've got for you, and thank you for watching. If you enjoyed, why not leave a like and share the video around, spread the word. If you've got anything to say, why not let me know in the comments. Whenever you're watching this, I hope you have a good rest of your day and an even better tomorrow. I love you, and before you say it back, look in the mirror and say it to yourself. And I will see you in the next episode of whatever I make. Until next time, this has been the Hotbox. Bye. Whoops. Considering what he's been faced. Welcome back to the channel, new and Welcome back to the channel, new and returning, young and old. Click.